Hey everybody, it's Showstar and Crystal here for a brand new review of Stargirl, the very first episode. Something you have never seen at all.
Yeah, the only Stargirl I know is the one in Legends.
But she only has like 2 appearances and that barely counts and it's not really much.
I get that it's a different Earth, but also it's weird that a Stargirl named Courtney exists, like, in different times, because this one's in the present day and the other one was in, 1942?
Anyway, but that's Legends, this is a hot... But anyway, like I said, you have never seen this show before, so...
Yeah, then there was a lot, I guess.
I mean, the opening prologue really throws everything at you.
Yeah, because it's just a bunch of superheroes.
I know, I love how it's that first scene is so jarring because like, you know, you see Pat running up to the whole scene and it's crazy shit happening and like he just like name drops every hero in case you didn't know who they were.
Which is good, yes, tell me all their names, but also no, like he told me.
Oh yeah.
But also he but I found it weird because he was wearing regular clothes, so I thought maybe he wasn't, like, part of them or anything. I wasn't sure what was going on. But anyway, we see that going on. We see a guy die, probably because some idiot pulled the sharp thing out of him when you're really not supposed to do that.
That scene is so weird when he dies. It's almost comedic, the way he's like, the legacy must live on, but it can't be you. No, really, it can't be you. And he just says it over.
It could be your stepdaughter.
It's such a jarring scene, but it's almost slightly comedic.
But the thing about how the scene then goes to her with her mum on Christmas, the same day, but yeah.
I always forget it opens at Christmas. It's so jarring.
Well, I think it's because they wanted to have that moment of Daddy's not showing up this year. Which, at first, made me think that maybe Pat, not that I knew his name at the moment, but I thought he might be Dad who was too busy to show up.
Yeah, I guess.
But then you realise Pat is a stepdad in the present day, which then makes me question if the other character in that scene, the dying... Starman was...
I mean, Owlman was also in that scene.
Yeah, I know. If Starman was Dad, which she does end up questioning, that would explain why he disappeared that day. But then, later on, when she does question that, he's like, but he had a different name. But the thing is, Pat could be lying because she has the picture of him. She showed the picture, so he could have been lying and thinking, no, I know it's him, but I'm going to say it's not. Regardless, we start with that big jump into all those superheroes. He did tell us, superheroes were actually established in this world, which is pretty different from shows like, say, The Flash in season 1. Like, there were no superheroes. The Flash shows up at the same time as all these other metahumans. And before that, there were no superheroes.
I always kind of forget how well known they are, because like, for some reason I always thought they were more forgotten, and then there's that scene where Courtney says she does know who Starman was.
Yeah, it was a little bit, like, he could say it's before her time, but it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, so like, I guess people still knew who the JSA were, and yeah. They really throw a lot at you in the intro scene. Like, they introduce you to a lot of JSA members who will get more into those eventually, and, you know, then there's a photo which has, like, even more JSA members, some of which are never shown at all in the show, but some of which are. Yeah, but then, you know, so you got all that inciting incident, and then obviously we cut to present day, and it's a very down-to-earth intro, and at the same time, I absolutely love this first episode, and I absolutely love this show. I really love this show.
The only parts I really hated were the parts at high school.
I will lie. I will say this show obviously does focus quite a bit of high school stuff, but compared to Smallville or Superman and Lois, I like the way they handle high school in this show way better than those previous shows I just mentioned.
Yeah. The thing that I always say when I'm watching an American show with high school is I either want to say it's unrealistic or say America is stupid, because if that
It could be both.
Yeah, but if that really is what happens in real schools, then what the hell?
I don't know. But yeah, you get all you get all that, you get introduced to Courtney, you get introduced to all our main characters, and I just love our characters. Like, I love the way this show handles characters. I love Courtney as a character. I like Mike. I like all these characters, and they just feel way more real characters compared to Smallville. Which, like, you watch Smallville or other shows, and it just looks like the most cheesy American show. Whereas at least, like, it's still got some of those tropes with like the high school bullies and all that shit. But I feel like the characters, you care more about them. You care more about Courtney as a character.
Oh, yeah.
She's a regular person.
Well, regular, but not quite, because she is really talented in gymnastics. We did see when she was packing up, she had a lot of trophies, which, in that shot, it kind of reminded me of Lana, how she had all those trophies, like, maybe to impress her aunt or something. Or
I guess, but at least it's nice setup to say that how she can handle the staff.
Yeah, I know. When she first started doing tricks with it, I was thinking it's a good thing they established her as being
that's good setup.
Gymnastics.
Yeah, I like the way that when she first tries to use the staff, she swings on it like a gymnastics pole. I also find it weird that in this show she flies on the staff like a surfboard. I would have thought you'd fly like a witch's broomstick and sit on it, especially because it's got that, like, it's not a perfect straight line. It's got a bit of a jutting out bit, which would be even more perfect to sit on.
Yeah, she sat on it more like the feminine horse set.
No, but sometimes she stands on it. Sometimes she stands a balance. I can't remember if she does it in this episode, but a lot of times she stands on it like a freaking surfboard.
Which would be scary as hell, like when she went like above the trees.
Yeah. But yeah, that would be just really difficult, but yeah.
But yeah, getting to the staff, it's like the wand chooses the star person.
Well, yeah, because it's meant to make you think there's something special about Courtney.
So, yeah, but it's sentient, I guess?
Yeah, it is, because she talks to it and it actually does stuff. The staff is alive.
The subtitles even labelled one of its noises as it chuckling.
Okay, I didn't notice that, but yeah, the staff, I guess, is alive in a sense. I like whenever she talks to it like it's a dog or something. It's funny, but yeah, there's something so delightful, and like this episode even slightly sets up other things that are going to appear very well into the show without making it super obvious. I'm not going to say what they are, but like there's certain characters you might have seen in this episode that are going to come back and other ones who aren't. So I really like the way this episode really sets up everything.
You know what it didn't do? It didn't conclude.
I was going to say, unlike Smallville, this is not a villain of the week type show. I will say that now. It is, for the most part, a very ongoing story. I'm not going to say every episode has a cliffhanger. This episode definitely does. In fact, I think the title of this episode has a part 1 and 2 in it.
I did not take notice of the title.
I didn't check what the title of this episode is. I think it's Pilot Part 1 and 2, or it might be just Stargirl Part 1 and 2 or something. But most of the titles are actually named after titular characters within the show. But yeah, not all the episodes have a crazy cliffhanger, but this one definitely does, and it leads straight into the next episode, which I'm guessing we'll get into eventually. But yeah, but I like that. I like that the seasons are shorter. There will be an ongoing plot, so you care about all the characters and the mysteries and whatnot. We obviously get introduced to, not only does that intro scene introduce us to our heroes, that intro scene also introduces us to some of the villains.
Yeah, because that guy came back, Brainwave.
Brainwave is the villain.
He killed Starman.
He thinks he killed Starman, and then he's got a son now, and it's just a mother of all coincidences that his son is a bully that Courtney was dealing with at the beginning. Yeah. But then, yeah, and then obviously, so that leads him into the realization. So then that leads Brainwave to think the staff was actually going after it, but it was actually a massive coincidence. But yeah.
Unless it's not, what if the staff sensed, like, the DNA of the guy that it's seen before?
I mean, I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
I mean, if I'm right that Starman is Courtney's dad, then that could be why it sensed the DNA. for her.
I don't know. Again, for reference, I've only seen this show through one time, and I absolutely love season 1 of Stargirl. It's one of my favorite things ever. Season 1 is so good. The other seasons are still pretty good too, but this is one of those ones where, in some shows we've watched, we've been like, oh, season 1's the hardest one to get through. Season 1 is the best. I'm not saying the other seasons are bad, but season 1 is the best season in my view, and we'll get into that in the future, I would hope. But, Courtney is a delightful character. She's a real character, of course. She's not perfect. There's moments where it feels like, oh, she's the bratty teenager who doesn't care about Pat, and she's all that.
Yeah, but for some people, it could be relatable to see that struggle with a step-parent.
Not just that, it also just reminds you, and I feel like it's something a lot of people can deal with, is how much of a bitch it is when you're a kid, when you move. It's like, parents move for one reason or another, or maybe just life makes you move for one or other reason or another, and they're like, oh, you'll make new friends, but like, when you're a kid, you don't think about that. Obviously, as an adult, let's be real, most adults have not kept on to their school friends now, but like, when you're younger, it's going to be the worst thing in the world moving. And so like...
Especially if you move far enough that you can't see your old friends.
Exactly, they moved all the way from California to Nebraska.
We moved at a young age, but we were still close enough that I was able to see one of my old school friends.
Yeah, sometimes. Whereas like, she moved halfway across the bloody country. Which they travelled across there with a rental truck. They had a rental, like it said on the side of on the truck, they were a moving truck. So like, did they pay for it? How the fuck did they move all that stuff?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's weird, but yeah, this show is just, it's a show. They set up every character so well. Every family character feels like a delightful, real character.
Well, okay. The other thing I want to say about Starman is the viewers might already know. Okay, I should say, because most of the time with superheroes, viewers can recognize who's under a mask. It's more just the characters can't tell. But I kind of struggle to recognize faces. But an average viewer could look at Starman in his mask, look at the picture of her dad, and say whether that's the same man, the same actor, or not. I am not 100% sure.
I mean, I like that though, because if you think about it, the first scene, it's dark, there's a lot of crazy shit happening, he's injured, so you don't get the best look at his face, and then all you've got is that one tiny photo that Courtney has. So I like that they like to at least try to make it difficult for even the viewer to figure out if they're the same person or not.
Yes, but viewers could, if they can recognize the same actor.
Well, it's also been 10 years.
True.
In the showtime, so...
True, but if you can recognize the same actor in that picture, then you know that is her dad in the picture, and that could be Starman. I don't know, because I kind of struggle with recognizing faces when it's not someone I know that I see on a regular basis.
Well, time will tell, I guess. Time will tell, but... this episode, obviously, it doesn't have a major conclusion. You get a confrontation with the villain. You get everything you need, though. You get a confrontation with our villain. You get Courtney getting the staff. You get Pat at the end.
He should have just... I don't know why he kept attacking her when he should have just realized, okay, clearly this is just some kid who's found the staff and doesn't know what she's doing. Like, at first, he was talking on the phone to that other guy, and they were like, we might have a new Starman. But... why jump to that conclusion when it could just as easily have been some idiot who found the staff and doesn't know what to do with it?
Well, we don't know how much they know about the staff. Maybe they know that the staff doesn't work for just anyone, though.
That's true. That's why they think it's a new
That's why it would make
Starman,
sense that they would jump to that conclusion.
It would have to be someone heroic.
Exactly. So, yeah, and because, the theme of this first season is very much... legacy. Like, you've got all the old JSA characters, and as time goes on, you're going to get new JSA characters. Obviously, Courtney is going to be the successor to Starman. And then, spoiler alert, you're going to get successors to certain other JSA characters. Not all of them, but some of them are going to get successors, as we'll see in time. It'd be interesting, and you'll recognize some of them. Well, not recognize, but, like, you'll know of their existence.
Or, like, their names. Like, I heard Dr. Midnight at one point.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Most of the JSA members that you see in that intro or in the photo are ones you have seen, like, in the JSA you saw in Legends as well. Like, yes, you saw Owlman, Dr. Midnight, There was probably a few others I'm forgetting the names of.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was a Steel guy.
I don't know, because he's not as big of a character, but there is there is a Citizen Steel, that is a real character. And there's a character named Steel, but that's a completely different character who's in a different show, but yeah.
So the other little thing that's more of like, maybe like foreshadowing something or whatever, so when she first went down to the basement before she found the stuff, she found a file on, like, I think on Starman or something.
There was a few different characters that there were like folders of, yeah.
Yeah, but there was this one file that, like, I don't know if it's going to be important later, for somebody named Icicle.
Well, we'll have to see, because that's the thing, there's a few files there, and I can say some of them, I recognize, I'm like, I think that's just a reference or a thing that doesn't matter, but then there are others where I'm like, this does matter. And that's the thing, there was a few files she picked up. Some of them matter, some of them don't.
Could just be like a name drop, like in...
Like how that photo has a lot of people who don't play into the show.
Like in early Flash when Wells says Ralph Dibny and they're just name dropping a DC character that they didn't know they were going to use.
She picked up files of a few characters, some of which were just here's a random reference, some of which weren't. So time will tell.
Yeah.
I liked it. That's the thing. I love that scene where I love all the JSA stuff where some of it is, hey, here's cool references people love, and some of it is here's cool foreshadowing as well as a cool reference. Like that photo. Some of those JSA characters are relevant to the show, some of it just throw in the photo. Like there's still a few other characters. Like you could see like a Hawk character in that photo.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, there's no Hawk characters in this show.
Good.
But like there's a few other characters who are in that photo who do matter, and there's a few characters who won't matter for this show, and there's a few characters who you think won't matter, but then later they do matter, and I love how well this show sets up a lot of stuff. And
that's true, this is a different Earth, so tell me, is there some form of a Vixen? Because Amaya's
no, I'll
JSA?
say that straight out now. There is that's something Legends. Well, not Vixen. Vixen wasn't invented for Legends, but Vixen being in the JSA was invented for Legends.
Oh, yeah, because they just had to set up her getting onto the wave, right?
Yeah. But yes, it's obviously a different Earth, and there's all that stuff. But yeah, I really love how well rounded this show. It's way more modern than Smallville, a few other shows. Each season is only 13 episodes. The story is an ongoing story for the most part, and I just feel like the pacing is way better. You don't have to get into the show knowing that, wow, I've got 10 seasons of 20 episodes. There's only 3 seasons. They all work pretty well, and it's only 13 episodes. It's one where you can go, yeah, I'm getting a nice story. You know, whether you get bored of the show in the future, we'll find out. I don't know.
We'll see. I'll probably give it at least one more.
Obviously, I mean, especially with that cliffhanger, you've got to give it at least one more, I would say.
The thing is, there's a difference between a cliffhanger and a lack of a conclusion. For example, in Season 1 Flash episodes, you still conclude the main point of the episode, but then after that conclusion is a last scene that is a bit of a cliffhanger, like setting up like the next villain or something.
I guess. Sometimes this is where I would differentiate and say there's a difference between a cliffhanger and a teaser. A teaser is more like, hey, get excited by this thing. A cliffhanger is... That's
true, whereas I would have liked if you conclude the episode and then have a teaser cliffhanger.
I will say that is how it goes for pretty much... I will say right now, most episodes actually do what you just said. But this episode is very much just a literal part 1 and 2. It's almost one big thing cut in pieces.
I don't like that.
I will say, don't worry, it's not something that happens... I mean, to be fair, it's sort of like what you get with Doctor Who, though. With, like, most episodes are self-contained, but there's the occasional two-parter. This is pretty much that. The first 2 episodes are pretty much just one long thing. After that, it will have mostly a conclusion with maybe a little teaser or something.
I mean, I know the first episode of Legends called itself Part 1 and Part 2, but it didn't feel like...
Yeah, I guess. But again, don't worry, it's not like every single episode is going to be like this. It's just maybe this first one is, then after that they will conclude a bit better. So this one was pretty much... I think this probably even... correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a few years. I think this even probably aired back to back, if I remember. I could be wrong. It's been a few years.
Good.
Yeah, but I mean, by that same token, most people I've seen who do reviews or reactions, etc., still do them one episode at a time. So,
Yeah.
But I suppose that's a point. You're supposed to be on your edge, so you're like, well, let's see what happens next. If anything, that's a good thing. It keeps you going till at least the next episode. There's no way we could not watch that next episode. I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like we're going to watch this more than we tried for Smallville. It's not saying we'll never come back to Smallville, but we're probably not going to come back right away.
At least watch the next part, and then maybe one more so I can get a feel for if there's any sort of formula to the season or anything.
I don't feel like the show is... That's one thing I love, is I don't feel like the show is nearly as formulaic as, say...
See, you say you love that. I am the opposite. I
feel like you could
say season 1 of Flash.
No, I was about to say that you need to strike a balance, because season 1 of The Flash was better at handing, here's a little bit of formula, but here's an ongoing plot. Whereas,
that's true. There were a few episodes that didn't really have a villain of the week and were more about the ongoing Reverse Flash stuff.
Whereas pretty much every Smallville episode in season 1, other than the pilot, is here's a villain of the week. There's almost nothing to hold on to. Whereas you could literally swap some of the Smallville episodes around and not know a difference. Whereas Flash, there's still very much an ongoing story, but like here's a meta of the week to throw in as well.
Yeah, that's what I like.
And it very much drip feeds you with good stuff, yes. Whereas this, you're not going to... I mean, you are and you aren't. It's not so much a villain of the week, but I feel like each episode is going to help set up a new thing that matters. Maybe we're setting up a new villain or a new character or a new thing. But it's not like it's not going to be a case of here's a random ass thing that you're probably never going to see again. Like in, say, Flash, you're never going to see like the smoke guy again or whatever. Well, actually, you do, but you know what I mean. Whereas like it's still like here's an episode where we're focusing on this thing most of all, but it definitely ties way more into the story than say here's just a random ass villain that you don't care about.
Or like season 1 of Supergirl. You can't like swap them like with Smallville because there was that ongoing thing with that guy. God, I haven't seen
Non and Astra.
No, but also that guy
Maxwell Lord.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You still might get a random ass thing, but it ties in way better with the story than say Smallville or something like that. Yeah. But like we said, overall we enjoyed it. All the characters are delightful. I love all the characters, even if they seem really basic and there's nothing super stand out, like they're not a character where you're like, oh, this is my favorite or whatever. I feel like all the characters are just so well rounded. Like every time I'm watching the show, I'm like, I love Pat, I love Mike, I like Courtney. I'm like, even though they're just characters, they don't have to be like, hey, this is a cool character in a show, you know?
Yeah, but also villains need to be enjoyable too. They can't just be a douchebag, which the son, the bully, he's like just as bad as the guy in Smallville.
Well, he's... Okay, to be fair, and maybe I'm misremembering, he's more of just a generic dumb bully. His dad is the villain you should be paying attention to.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and, I mean, we didn't get much of him, but he's at least just an engaging villain, and we'll get more into him as time goes on.
Yeah, but characters like him make me think either A, it's bad writing, or B, people really do act like that, which makes me weep for humanity.
I mean, it could be a bit of both. I mean, have you seen real life? There's everything. But all in all, we very much enjoyed this episode. I mean, I very much enjoyed this episode. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, you know,
It takes you longer to warm up to things, to be fair.
Yeah, I picked it to try because I wanted to try one of the options that had hopefully a strong female lead, which...
Oh, she's one of the best female lead characters, and not to harp on it, because it's not usually the thing I give a shit about anyway, unlike shows like, say, Batwoman or Supergirl, they really don't make a fuss about the fact that it is a female character. Again, I'm not usually one who cares about that too much anyway, but it's definitely not like that anyway.
I was worried because she's such a young character.
I feel like that's what makes it better, actually. When it's like Kara or Kate Kane, who are like 25 or 30, it comes across as weirder when they have these weird moments that feel a little too annoying. She is canonically, I think, 15 or 16, so some of her slightly annoying moments or odd moments can be excused because she's younger.
That's true. It did worry me at first with her being so young, because the character that I compared it to, I was worried that it would be like if Black Lightning was about one of the daughters.
Yeah, whereas it works because she's younger. It's a legacy show about a new generation.
Yeah, I guess that works.
But I suppose we've done everything?
Yeah, I guess that's it for that. We've gone on a bit too long, probably.
Probably, this will be a long opening review. Anyway, we'll see you next time for more Stargirl and other things as well. See you next time, guys!